every time I get depression, I relapse.
And what is that thing that inspires you to lift yourself up after a relapse?
My family, my wife especially. And my wife has been so gracious. The addiction, it is weighing her down mentally, but she's still holding on. Then my son always reminds me that the petidine is not good. Take water, take hydroxyurea. He knows all my medicine, and he's 5 years old. So he's the one who keeps me going. Because I'm like, oh my God, again. I'm like losing hope. I'm telling God, this thing will not work. Just take me now. I started becoming suicidal again. Yeah. Lamo, there's no time, so Skype kwa shower sana, sawa? God, we come before you with thanksgiving. Thank you for this day. We pray that when Lamo goes to school, that you give him the spirit of understanding. I pray for protection. I pray that he's blessed in his going and in his coming. I pray, King of Kings, that this day will be a good day for Lamo and everyone in school. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray and believe. Amen. Let's go.
Good day, Lamo.
Amotaka mbele, Lamo. Nifunge. Bye, Goody. You're always on your phone?
Like many people, I fight that addiction. Like many people, because
Me, I think God had to take the phone away from me. So.
Okay. Good day.
Bye.
So nilikuwa nataka kuuliza mbona decide kwenda therapy?
Okay, I decided to go for therapy because one, living with, taking care of someone who has a chronic illness drains you emotionally, drains you physically, drains you in every way. And sometimes you just need someone to tell you you're good, what you're doing is good, you need that. I felt I really needed someone to talk to because of what I've gone through. It's not easy.
It is not.
It's
True.
not easy. Yeah, and I needed this. And I'm happy I got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Mentally you're not well. You're taking a bigger part more than the sick person takes. Yeah, taking care of someone who has chronic illness is something else. Yeah, and so as a caregiver, I knew that I needed this. Actually, today is my first session.
Okay. Wow. Okay. It's a blessing to come on the first day that you're going for therapy.
Yeah.
So I do not want to keep you late. Can I hug?
Oh yeah.
All right. Have a good one.
So much.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good day.
Good day as well. Okay. Wellness Warriors, karibuni sana to our episode. Today we're going to do it a bit different because as you might have seen, we started our day quite early and we're spending a good 12 hours with our guest today to see what his journey and experience is like living with sickle cell, dealing with pain, and he's going to share a bit about his addiction to opioids. So I do not want to water down his story. So I'll just allow him to proceed. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Nice having you in this house.
Yes,
it's a
we
blessing.
are so. We are blessed actually to be here. Thank you for welcoming us to your home.
Thank you. It's a blessing. You have made the house warm. My son is excited of this episode. Yes, and I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are super, super honored
Yes.
that you could even open your doors to us. And I must say you have a very warm place here.
Thank God. We thank God for this place. Though we think it's small, but yeah, people have experienced peace in this place. Personally, Pia, as we have experienced peace in this place. So we thank God. We thank God.
Good.
Yes.
You can start by telling us a bit about yourself.
My name is Etemesi Ocholla. I am a sickle cell warrior, 38 years of age, 38 years now. But I look younger, so niko na jini ya kikamba ndani yangu.
Don't say.
Yes. Apart from that, married. Married to one beautiful wife called Catherine Etemesi. And with us, we are blessed with a son called Goodness Lamo. Lamo is a Luo word meaning prayer. So to me, I'm calling him Berlamo. For my wife, he calls him Goodness Lamo, the goodness of prayer. Yes, he's 5 years now.
Okay.
Yes, and he's in school, as you have seen today. Yeah, so apart from that, I am a trained microbiologist. I am a pastor. I've been a pastor for the last, from 2011 to 2022, 2023 actually. 2022 I was in a church. I was the lead minister there. Then I transitioned. I'm now serving with a rehabilitation center at Oasis, where I am I'm part of the chaplaincy. Apart from that, we volunteer with my wife in sickle cell space, where we are under Children's Sickle Cell Foundation. And under Sickle Cell Foundation, Children's Sickle Cell Foundation, we are in charge of the young adults, people living with sickle cell, but young adults. Yeah, so we call them weary warriors. Okay. Weary is the Swahili word for nawiri, flourish. Yes, and we believe that is the time they need to flourish. That's the time they are in career. The time most of them are getting married. So they are flourishing. Yeah, but even as they're flourishing, I know there are challenges that are in the season of flourish. So we tend to tackle the challenges. And mostly the challenges that are there are mental health challenges.
Okay.
That's where we focus more. It's more of a psychosocial support for the sickle cell warriors who are in that stage. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You mentioned that you're a sickle cell warrior.
Yes.
Maybe at what age were you diagnosed with sickle cell?
When I was 7 years of age.
Okay.
I remember very well. I was suffering, but I was not sure what I was suffering from. And that time, when I was 7 years of age, I was in grade 1, class 1 at that time. And my hand was aching, and it was this hand, yes, and it was not stretching. So it was like it had broken. It was painful, and all that. So we went to Kenyatta. Kenyatta referred us to Mombasa for something called HB electrophoresis. At that time, it was being done in Mombasa because Mombasa and Kisumu had a lot of patients with sickle cell disease. So we went there. That's where I was diagnosed. I was told I have sickle cell. I was not panicking. I don't know why. I didn't know if it's a life-threatening disease. I didn't know. Yeah. So, but also, the good thing is my cousins had the same condition. I've had 2 cousins. One, she's a lawyer right now. Big ups to Alice. And the other one was Lucy, who's late now. And they had sickle cell. So I was like, you see, when you are having people in your family who are the same disease, so you are comforted. Yeah, you're like, you'll hack this. If they are hacking, you'll hack this. So that time, we hacked that. Yes, so I was not panicking as such. But now I fear the painful episodes. I remember in my early days in school, now when I started, now I'm experiencing this disease in a personal way. I remember those days we used to live in Dandora. Dandora is somewhere in Nairobi, Eastlands area. And I schooled in a school called Tomboya. And in Tomboya school, we had those teachers who are very corporal. They had a corporal alignment in punishment, in terms of punishment. So when I used to get late, they would beat me up. And every time I would be punished, that day was hell, because I will be in pain the whole day. And my mom was used to work till late. I remember I will go home, and even I couldn't do homework. I will cry the whole plot. People will wish. I will hear the neighbor say, "Hey, Mungu, God take this child away from this pain. Just take his life." People would wish for me to die at that time. So I remember the voices were so loud there in the plot. Why? I need power. And then those days there were no mobile phones, so they couldn't call your mom that you are sick. So they will wait for her to come, so that she can figure out how you can be helped. So I was in pain,
And
extreme pain.
Oh, sorry
Yes.
to interrupt you, Etemesi. Your teachers were not aware that...
They were not aware at that time. So what happened is my mom started going to school and explaining. She started with the principal, and the principal started understanding what I was suffering from. And for the first time in those public schools, I was allowed to wear trousers, because the shorts that we are wearing and the cold in Nairobi will affect my legs. So I would always in pain. So I started wearing trousers. But she didn't tell me that she has talked to the principal. Me, I thought, why, Mom, what are you doing? I'll be beaten today. I said, no, I just go to school with that trouser. Yes, I started going trouser. Some teachers started hating me, because now you are spoiled, you can't be handled, you can't be touched, and all that and all that. So I faced a lot of stigma from the teachers. Yeah. Apart from one or two teachers who were at least soft or compassionate towards me. But those teachers who are not allowed to beat me, they just, I'd faced the stigma. Yeah. Yes, so that was my schooling. That was in those early days, and I knew sickle cell was pain. If I explain to you what sickle cell was at that time, it was pain, and I knew the pain was called crisis.
In terms of symptoms and
Yes.
signs, and I know you've mentioned the pain, as a 7-year-old or as an 8-year-old, what other symptom or sign did you experience?
That symptom was, I was not growing. I was short, I was small. My classmates were growing, and then I am small. Then the other symptom was my eyes were yellow, and people will ask, "Hey, what's wrong with your eyes?" and all that. I remember when I started growing up preteen, we were transferred to Mombasa. And Mombasa, something that was so in my physique, I had a big stomach that was enlarged spleen, which is part of the symptom. And people would laugh at me, and so I would want to look different. At that time, when we were going to Mombasa, I also developed something called a vascular necrosis. Now, when I used to experience those pain, most of the hospitals were just giving me painkillers to numb the pain. So basically, what was happening in my body is when the sickle cell blocked the transportation of oxygen to different vessels, what will happen was they will damage that place, either organ, either anything inside, but I will not know. So my leg was damaged from class 5 there. I was not walking. Or I was walking like someone who had a short leg.
Okay.
So when I went to Mombasa, I started limping. It became evident I was bad. I was now walking very bad. So my mom decided to take me to a specialist who advised that I use crutches. And now I'm entering my teen and with a crutch. I was really devastated. I was really... So these symptoms are the ones which came to my life. The yellowing of the eyes, small body. Now the teen, my puberty was coming late. I was small, yani. I was in Form 1. I was very small, yani. But by grace of God, people did not make fun of me. I had friends who embraced me, protected me. So they made my life comfortable. But I was like, I want to be like other teens and all that. Yes.
And when it comes to the opioids, I know you've mentioned the pain.
Yes.
And you mentioned that they used to give you painkillers like
Yes,
back then. So at what point did we transition from painkillers to
Opioids.
opioids?
Now, the pain of sickle cell crisis is usually a strong pain. And the first time I remember them giving me a strong painkiller, and I knew the name when I was in class 5, and it was in a national hospital.
Before
And
you continue,
yes,
what is a sickle cell crisis?
nice. Sickle cell crisis is part of the, it's called the painful episodes. They call it crisis.
Okay.
So if you enter an hospital and you're in pain, you'll just tell the casualty or the guy, the doctor, I'm in painful crisis.
Okay.
And the doctor will know and they will understand, this is painful episode caused by sickle cell.
Could we say it's like a code word? Like if
Yes,
I'm a sickle cell warrior and I'm in that pain, I can go to the hospital and just say I'm in crisis.
Yes.
And the doctors are able to know that it's that serious pain caused by sickle cell.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So
Okay.
that's a code word.
Uh-huh.
So that time, when I was there in this big hospital, the nurses were like, Etemesi, you're in pain. Let me give you this strong painkiller. It's called pethidine.
Okay.
That's when I realized I was in class 5.
Okay.
And this pethidine worked wonders. It numbed me instantly. Compared to other painkillers that took time, this made me calm. This made me talk a lot. Like I was excited. This painkiller worked wonders. Yeah, and I loved it. And I became friend of nurses. So when I said, I'm in pain, they'll just come. They'll not care how many hours. This gun is in pain. Let me give him this strong painkiller. And that's where my journey with opioids. Now, these painkillers, the painkiller are non-algesic, then there's the opioids, which are the strongest, the tramadol, the pethidine, and the morphine. They started, I think, with tramadol, then they went to pethidine. Now, pethidine was the one that worked wonders for me at that time. For tramadol, it made me vomit, it made me nauseated, it made me feel more sick, but it worked, but it made me feel more sick. So, but pethidine worked wonders, and I loved it. Yes, that was in class 5.
Okay.
Yes, so when I went to Mombasa, yes, and I discovered they were in these big hospitals, and they started using it on me. Because they said, hii pain zake ziko mingi sana. So the only painkiller that works for him is this, and that stuck with me. The only painkiller that works
for him is
this,
pethidine.
is pethidine.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and after some time, so I used to get these painkillers in hospital, not at home, in hospital. I used to look forward to go to casualty when I'm in pain, because I knew casualty will work wonders, because they will use the strong painkillers on me. And that's how my journey started with opioids. I remember when after Form 4, I passed, went to JKUAT, and I was in JKUAT. There's a hospital there that I think they used tramadol or something to numb me from pain. But now I got a doctor, a hematologist. He was strict on these painkillers. And he used to come and lecture in JKUAT. And when he comes to lecture in JKUAT, he will go and look at my file in the hospital, and he'll cancel everything and give orders that if I get any crisis, the first thing they take me to Kenyatta, private wing. And there I will see hell. Why? Because he'll not use painkillers. And he explained to me, which is very nice, and I loved it. Because he said, if I give you a painkiller, you will walk out here feeling okay. But after a few hours, it will wear off and then come in pain. I want to see the pain so that I know how to treat you. Because sickle cell is not about the pain. The pain is like a sign that something is not working for you in your body. So I want to treat that something in your body. The blockage, I want to block. So that when I deal with it, pain will cease. But that will take after how long? That's how my first days was hell. I used to be on the bed crying and all that. They used to tie me on the bed. I had rage, I had a lot, because the pain makes you behave, even you can cry the whole night and all that. But he managed me well. He managed me well, and for the first time, he got me out from that dependency of pain medication. So I started being aware that when I'm in pain, there's something that is not working in my body, and the doctors need to sort it out.
Okay.
Yes.
Allow me to digress a bit, because
Yes.
you made me go many years back when we were back in uni.
Yes.
Is this hematologist the same one who used to take our hematology
classes? That one. Yes.
Can you big him up? Because I think he was a great professor.
Yeah, Professor Mwanda is one
kudos.
great. He was my doctor. I think he was my doctor when I was young. Then we met again when he was in campus. So Professor Mwanda he's a superb doctor.
Yeah, I
Yes.
appreciate that, because I knew him in the class, but I did not know that he actually even tried to now stem that addiction.
Exactly.
Because he was able to realize that, yes, there is pain, but the way you're going is not the best way to deal with
Exactly.
it. And I'm glad that you say that he, in a way, helped you manage it better.
Yes, and helped me understand what I was suffering better. Because remember, the first time I told you, when I heard about sickle cell was just pain for me, but I didn't understand what was happening in my body. I started being aware. I saw him using a lot of normal saline drip on me, and I was wondering, it will overload my kidney and all that. But he was not even cautious about that. So he explained to me that there's a blockage, and it's flashing the blockage out. And if this blockage is not being flushed out with the normal saline, I transition to blood. I use a normal person's blood, which has a round the concave red cell that carry enough oxygen and can pass through those without blockage, and that will make you better. And I was like, wow. And it worked magic. After transfusion, the pain will cease. And I'll stay in school for 6 months, 3 months, six months, 7 months without pain. Yeah? And I was like, nice, this works. Yeah?
So why did we digress and go back to pethidine? Because it was working.
Because I was under my parents' insurance cover.
Okay.
So after campus, I got old. I was kicked out from that insurance company because I leukemia, your age. So basically, we started using our own finances. So we couldn't afford a hematologist at that time. So what were you doing? We were going to a near hospital. And this small hospital around your area, they tend to have those opioids.
Okay.
And the clinician there, they don't want to concentrate more on how to sort the whole issue, but now the shortcut. How can we intervene on this so that this guy does not feel pain? Yeah. So I don't even blame them, because they are sympathetic, also new, but now they reintroduced me back. Yes. So I'm not getting transfusions. Normal saline is only 2 bottles, then you're out. Yes. So I started the memory is like there was a back memory of something that worked very well. So it like the reintroduction of it made me alive again. I'm like, oh, nice. So you're using pethidine again. Yes, I started using pethidine. Now this pethidine was, I told you before, it was done in hospital. I got married, still going to hospital with my wife, especially those midnight time when I'm in pain. She'll take me. I remember one time I was in pain and we had no one to drive us. So I called a friend who was not sleeping, he was working late, and the other car, he was a neighbor. So he came, he picked me up, we went. So I was in pain. I told him, no, let's stop in this small hospital. Let me get a painkiller, then we'll go. And the painkiller they injected me was pethidine.
Wow.
I went to the other hospital. I was injected pethidine again. You see, these hours, it's like 1 hour difference. But since you're in pain, they don't even consider that you have been injected. They don't even ask you, what have you used? They just inject. I started convulsing. I started, because the effect of these painkillers, they tend to, opioid especially, they tend to affect your respiratory system. So they cause something called respiratory distress. So you can't breathe, and that's how people die out of it. They can't breathe, they can't. So they started resuscitating me. I remember that time being called, Etemesi, Etemesi, Etemesi. I was losing them, and they were losing. I was hearing the voices from afar. I was conversing and all that. Anyway, so, but these things, this painkiller was my quick fix. A few years later in my marriage, when I was 5 years in marriage, a friend came. Now it became expensive. Now the National Insurance Fund stopped paying for painkillers, especially the opioids.
Okay.
So you pay for it. So hospitals stopped having it, or others will charge you. So I told my friend, hey, well, this painkillers become expensive. Do you know where I can get so that I can just inject myself at home when I'm in pain? But don't worry, I got you, man. He came with 5 vials
Wow.
for free.
Wow.
Now, let me tell you about opioids. They are tramadol, pethidine, morphine. They are ending with NE. Cocaine and heroin. They're the same class.
Group.
So these are that are found in the street, and these ones are for medical use. But they are the same family, the same effect. If someone gives you an heroin today, they're introducing you to something. And they are introducing you to an addiction. And you don't know about it. So when I was given 5 vials, I remember that day when it came. My wife looked at it, read the box, and told me, this thing is used only in hospital because it's highly addictive. And I'm like,
It was clearly stated on the packet.
Yeah, it was the box, the packet. And I'm like, you don't know the pain that you're going through and all that and all that. I even forced her to start injecting me. And even called someone, hey, just talk to her, because we are saving here, you see, you're saving. You will not pay 500. Because like this thing I've been given for free, we can't waste it out. You know? I'm like, okay, so I can inject. Like, hey, a feeling, it was not sitting well with her. So I learned myself, because I was afraid of injecting myself. I learned how to inject. I started injecting. So 5 vials went. I started buying. I started going to an hospital that had prescription. They started buying for me somewhere else. They stock for me. With time, they started buying, giving me some, and staying with some. Then it progressed. They introduced me to their supplier. Their supplier, I was now getting from the supplier. I started injecting 10 vials a day. So I used to buy 3 boxes.
Hold on,
Yes.
Etemesi. If I walk into a hospital right now and I ask for pethidine, I'll get it without a prescription?
It depends on each hospital. Some hospitals, they tend to give you, they tend to ask you for a prescription.
Okay.
Others, since they know you, huyu ni mtu wetu akona sickle cell, they need prescription. You understand?
What if maybe a hospital doesn't know me, but I use the code word, I'm in a crisis, I have sickle cell. Will they just inject me with pethidine?
I see the doctor will say, so they think, which painkiller works? They ask.
Oh, they would ask you which painkiller works for you.
Yes. And that's the
Wow.
question that I've been asked by many. Which painkiller works for you? I say pethidine. Oh, okay, sir.
Wow. And for this hospital to introduce you to their supplier, and now you could get the medicine directly from the supplier.
I go with the prescription from that hospital, and they know me now. Oh, Samuel, umefika. They gave me 3 boxes.
Wow.
3 boxes. 3 boxes. I use 10 vials a day. And we were 2 of us, so we take 6 boxes. After 3 days, we are back. 3 boxes again, until they were flagged down by the Pharmaceutical and Poisonous Board, and they stopped selling to us. So hapo ndo palituli, we started now looking for other ways to get this pethidine. And we learned that some people Some pharmacies sell them at home. Some pharmacies are corrupt. Some pharmacies, people, you get this in Kenya
So
without prescription now.
allow me to take you back a bit. So how many, you've mentioned that you now reached a point where you're getting directly from the supplier.
Yes.
And then you have 3 boxes, use it for 3 days, about 10 vials per day. But initially, how many were you using per day?
It was initially, when it was done in hospital, it was 1 vial. Only, then then they start treatment, then this pain wears off.
So can we say that the increase, the increase in intake was increasing a
Yes,
bit as we went up, yeah?
Sometimes now, you will go to hospital and they use 1 vial and you're still in pain. And they say, the patient is not working, let's go to a higher dose, which is morphine.
Okay. And in regards to that, the hospital that gave you the direct contact of the supplier, did they by any chance, the personnel there, let you know that, by the way, Etemesi, this is pethidine, these are the effects, this is what you should do?
They didn't tell me.
There was none of that.
They were just helping Etemesi.
Wow. Okay.
So I didn't know what I was getting myself
into.
Yes, because when I was in campus, I was that Christian boy who you don't drink, you don't sleep around so that you preserve yourself. Then this addiction that comes, your body is so like a virgin. Your body does not know about highness and all that. So you're confused. You're telling yourself that I am sorting my pain, but what you are chasing is high.
You're chasing a high,
yes,
but you're justifying it to yourself that I'm in pain. I need to sort out this pain.
But you're chasing a high. And now it's becoming obvious when now you're using the second vial, the third vial, fourth vial, because now it's not the pain anymore. Yes.
Okay. I think we're going to stay here a bit.
Yes.
When you inject yourself with 10 vials, what is your status? How are you? Are you able to function at home as a husband, as a father? Are you able to do anything, or you're passed out?
You don't pass out, but sometimes my wife told me he used to just like doze off. Or someone is talking to you and you're dozing off, and they're seeing you and you're not seeing it. You think that you're following the conversation. The other thing, I had rage. I became selfish because I was a saver. I used to love my family, put my family first. But now if I get money, it's just for the meds. The third thing was I used to borrow. Now started borrowing a lot. I started borrowing a lot. I started telling people it's pain and all that and all that and all that. So it became, I started hiding in lies and all that. Yes.
Allow me to ask you, Etemesi.
Yes.
Did you by any chance at certain points maybe not be in pain, but because you like the high, you would lie so that you could just get the medicine?
Yes, those days, yes, I will do that. Yes, those days. Now I'm cautious. Now I'm very cautious because now if I borrow money, because my reputation now got destroyed. I lost friends. Now if I ask someone, I'm sure what I'm going to buy. Yeah, because apart from medicine, apart from painkillers are not part of the management drugs. Now the management drugs, if you have sickle cell, there's something called hydroxyurea. Hydroxyurea was a drug for leukemia patients. But now it was found out that in sickle cell, they produce something called fetal hemoglobin. Now, the reason why I was born with sickle cell, but I was not getting the symptoms till when I was 7 years, is because the blood inside me was my mom's. It's called fetal hemoglobin, and they were not sickling. So I was not getting those episodes. But for my cousin, after 8 months, they started getting symptoms. So that means their fetal depleted in their 8th month. So that drug, hydroxyurea, makes you have that fetal hemoglobin. Yeah. But now hydroxyurea was expensive. It's 45 shillings, 1 capsule.
Okay.
At that time. And at least now, because of the patent, okay, the generic now, they are generic and all that. They tend to reduce the price, which
Okay.
is nice. Eh? You get 30 bob, 20 bob, and all that. I use 4 capsules a day. 4 capsules, that is times 4. 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. There's folic acid that builds your red blood cells. Apart from folic acid, there's zinc to prevent you from getting infection. There's penicillin. Now, my penicillin, I used to do tablets a day, but the doctor changed it. Now I get injections, 1 injection a month. That is for preventing infection. Yes. So those, now because my budget now is focused on that. Because when I was deeply into addiction, I didn't use these management drugs. I used only the painkiller, pethidine.
And from what you're saying, the hydroxyurea, the folic acid, the zinc, that is what helps to manage. But pethidine helps to almost like cover the pain.
Yes, only pain. So that means your things that are being damaged. It numbs, but the damage still happens.
Okay. I'm sorry we're staying here a bit longer. Would you say in your own words that the pain you experienced as a child, in a way, scared you so much that as an adult, you didn't want to face the pain anymore?
Exactly.
So anytime you could even feel like kidogo pain,
Yes.
you just immediately ran to the pethidine.
I usually say, when I go to the chaplaincy, I now understand people in addiction more. Because I used to hear even rumors of pain. And rumors of pain. This sickle cell crisis is very funny. Because it sometimes starts with, you just feel your teeth are weak.
Okay.
And you know
It's coming.
it's coming.
Uh-huh.
You can tell someone it's coming. Pain is coming. And sometimes you're doing something that is strenuous, and you just feel your back, a sharp pain, and then you don't want to move, because if you move, they come with all the relatives. Yeah. So you just stay there and ask for help, and even you can't voice out in a loud voice, because everything that will make you move or make you shout or the pain will just come. So I fear that pain. I fear that pain. First of all, the pain embarrassed me in public places. I've been in places where, like in school, I get crisis. I remember when I was in campus, when we were in the hostel, the toilets were the squatting toilets. And there's just the squat. When I just finished my business, when I would wake up, I'll get crisis. Wow. And I remember going to my roommate and tell my roommate, "Naskia pain." And they will call all the neighbors. And they will carry me, because I can't walk now. Everything. So that embarrassment, and now getting this painkiller to numb before I go to hospital.
It's definitely an easy way out.
Yes.
So let's go back now to that place where you left us, that the supplier now is flagged off by Pharmacy and Poisons Board. Then how do you move on from there?
Now my friend tells me, there's another place I've got.
Okay.
Yes, and this place, you don't need a prescription. You just go there when you need, just go there. And it was done like that.
Okay.
I started getting boxes now from these suppliers.
Wow.
And they were not asking for prescription. And sometimes even if you don't have money, they'll just pay for them later. So debt started piling. Then at that time I was a lead pastor. I called my elders, told them, my core team, at that time, the elders are the one that oversee the old church. The core team oversee the church plant. So the core team, I told them, I have a challenge. That we were with my wife. We have a challenge. I got myself in painkillers, and I don't know how to get out. So I asked for help. But at that time, things changed, and I was told to step down, or resign, or I get terminated. And I chose to step down. I wrote a letter to the core team, but I also wrote a letter to the elders. But the elders saw it. They said, Etemesi, you're not going anywhere. You have a medical need, and we need to sort it out. So they gave me a 6-month medical break. I went to hospital. I went to a rehab. The rehab was not working for me because now my addiction level, remember I told you, the respiratory distress. Now, this respiratory distress was a bit, it started getting into my system. My brain, there's a part of the brain that is involved in the respiration and all that, started shutting down. I started convulsing. I started losing breath. I went for MRI, they were not seeing anything. I went for the X-ray, they were not seeing anything. But this thing was killing me slowly. So the rehab could not take care of me because in the normal rehab, they lock you out from getting access. But I had a medical condition, so I was conversing. They didn't have the machinery, they didn't have the personnel to handle that. They didn't have a doctor there. So they chased me out after 8 days. So we were back to the drawing board with my family. And I remember I told you about asking for help. So the elders recommended that one of the pastors, church representative, form a health committee. And health committee had one representative from church, friends from campus, family. My wife was there, people from sickle cell community, our cheerleader was there, a doctor was there for medical advice on where to go and all that. There was a team behind, and that team helped us to get the perfect solution. So when I was out of rehab, the friend that introduced me to the one that we were used to go to and get this medicine, collapsed and died. He was coming from his daughter's party. I don't know if he overdosed that day. He went to an ATM and he collapsed.
Wow.
So everyone knew I am next. When? They don't know. But I am next. So I needed help ASAP. So I was taken to another hospital. And this time, the doctor said, let's do this. Let's tamper down. How many vials have you been using? I said, 10. Let me tamper down 5 to 5 per day. Then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. But it was not working. When I finished 1, the thirst of pethidine was high. So it didn't work, so I was checked out. I went to another hospital. But this time, yes.
Hold on, Etemesi. I want to ask you one question here. Yes. You said they put you on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How do you know that it's not working as the user? What are some of the signs and symptoms that present that you know that I need another shot?
You become more. It's like withdrawing from the withdrawal symptoms were bad.
Okay.
The withdrawal symptoms were bad. I started also ordering from outside because it was a lenient hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. So
when you were there?
Yes, I started ordering from outside.
And they could allow you to do that, or you do it behind
the back. So a lenient hospital. I remember even when the doctor, I said lenient because they didn't have the pethidine when he started tampering. So when he wrote the prescription, I started using the prescription to get outside. And the person who used to come with it, the doctor told me that I need to give you this drug. So he'll give them 1 and give me 5. Chini ya maji.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started using it in that hospital. So it was not working.
Okay. Another thing I would like to ask is when it comes to you now approaching the leadership at your church, what made you realize that you have an addiction going on?
Because I couldn't do it without it. I couldn't preach without pethidine. Okay. I used to order. I used to be on, my schedule was busy. On Sunday, I would wake up in the morning, go to an high school to preach. After high school, I go to the main church to preach. Then leadership roles, so you are trained all this. So I developed a team around me that was working well and was working perfectly. So they were hiding me. My wife came and hid me that the church was progressing, even though I was deep into addiction. I remember God was so gracious to us. When the pastor was there transitioned, the numbers, they dwindled. It was kidogo, but it increased with some time. But I was not documenting all this. When I go for meeting, I don't give reports. I'm always sick. I'm always sick. I'm always going for medicine. I'm always sick. So there's no report. Yeah. And things were happening in church, but reality, people are not seeing it. The leadership were not seeing it and all that. So I was not getting into a good place.
Okay.
Then borrowing and all that, I was not getting into it because now there's donor fatigue around me. Yes.
Okay, so we are now at the second rehab where, according to them, they are tampering you down
With the same.
but you are able to get a few on the
other
side.
ways, yes.
Let's proceed.
So after that, I stayed there for like 7 days. I moved, and the team was back on the drawing board. But this time, since my friend died, they said, let me go for organ test so that they know which organs are dying. Yeah.
Okay. For organ what?
Organ check.
Oh, an organ check.
Like the whole body.
So they know
yes,
the status.
The status of everything inside of me. And everything was good. The
Okay.
kidney, the liver, everything was good, imagine. While they were doing that, someone in that, I think the manager asked my friend, what's up with your patient? Said, he's dependent on opioid. And you're looking for someone to help. We have a Turkish doctor here who has been helping sickle cell warriors come out of pethidine. Like, can we see him? Yes, you can. And they introduced us to Dr. Yash.
Okay.
Dr. Yash gave them a report. Oh, this is how, like, they had a talk with my wife and my friend who was the chairman of that committee. And he said, we need to admit him immediately because they might lose him. So he found an hospital. He referred us to another hospital in Kitsuru, Oasis, and that's where I went. I found a very good psychologist for Dr. Margaret, who was also my psychologist, and the doctor was coming to help in terms of hematology.
Okay.
So that he can manage my sickle cell crisis and all that. Yes. So when I was in that hospital, the first day I was admitted, I was well. But remember, I was still using. So I had used 16 vials that night because I knew
you were at home.
I'm going to be admitted the next day.
So you were at home and you're injecting yourself because you
Yes.
know now tomorrow I'm going to rehab.
Rehab, yes. So I did 16 vials. Then in the morning, I did a morphine on top. So in that hospital, when I went on admission so it was wearing off, pole pole. Hey, by June it was bad. I started conversing. Now the respiratory distress became worse. I was being resuscitated after a few minutes. The doctor called my friend, told him, hey, we are losing him. We are giving him 3 days. If he doesn't come off, he will die. If he comes off, we thank God. So pray. So my wife that same message was transferred to my wife so that she can be prepared. Yes, the first day, second day, third day, I came out.
Those are 3 days without pethidine.
Yes, I came out in terms of the conversion. But it took, my wife told me, it don't take 3 days. It took a lot because now my skin changed. I started having wounds in the mouth. I was weak. For the first time, that hospital they made a makeshift ICU place for me. Yeah, there was oxygen for me and all that. So, yes. And they worked on me. I had a team. It was holistic treatment. By holistic, I mean from the hematologist to the psychologist to the psycho-addiction therapist to the spiritual therapist. Since I was a pastor. And one of the things that we discovered with my spiritual therapist was fear of pain, fear of even trusting God that God, you can sort me this pain out. Then there's the music therapy. For those who are Christian, you know that when King Saul was was disturbed mentally, David was called in the palace to play some music for him, and every time he was playing, the Bible documented that the evil spirit departed from King Saul. Yeah, the Bible says the evil spirit from God, yeah, basically. But it gave him peace of mind, and that's what our music therapy helped me. Yeah, a friend called Ben Olo, the one who's playing for us this music therapy. Then there was Pastor Joel for spiritual therapist, then Dr. Margaret, the psychologist, then there was Liz, the psycho-addiction therapist. This team came along and they did, and the nurses were there because we discovered about addiction. Even you don't bath yourself, you stop taking care of yourself. Yeah. So all this I started now from. I was I, wa- I'll show you my pictures. I was slim the first time I was being admitted. I came out from that place with 60 kgs. Yes, 65 actually. Yes.
Okay. So the whole time you were in Oasis,
For
since
2 good months.
admission,
Yes.
you never used Pethidine.
Yes.
Were there any withdrawal symptoms?
Yes. That's what I told you. The 3 days. The 3
The
days
first
was
3
worse.
days
The
were.
first 3 days were worse. Then after that, it took a lot of time, like 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. I was then the fear of pain, because the place is in Kitusuru, so the cold. It was around June, May, June. Because I came out in July. The pain. I feared pain. I just see cold and I see pain. But now I was now being led to now come out of that fear. That fear. I started bathing in the morning, and there was no pain. I started doing exercise, and there was no pain. I started drinking lots of water, and I managed myself. They gave me my daily medication on a daily basis, and I improved. Yeah, but there was like a fear still. So I used to ask for paracetamol. They will deny me sometimes. I was like, "Oh, I'm sick." So it was a process until I came out of it.
How long did you stay at Oasis?
2 months.
Okay.
2 months. 2
And
months.
when you came out at the end of 2 months, you were no more using?
Yes. I stayed for like 10 months. Then I relapsed kidogo. Why relapsed? Because I came out. The first thing I received was a termination letter from the church.
When you came out of rehab?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
This thing crushed me. Now I started becoming depressed. I was at home looking at my family and I'm thinking, oh, I've wasted them. I was hating myself. Now I started talking to myself, but not positively, negatively. I hated myself. I hated my past. I hated everyone. Then my reputation was destroyed. I didn't have friends. You can call someone who's not picking. I'm like, I lost friends. We stayed here for 2 months before we got a new church. I feared church. I hated the name pastor. Yes. So I was like, me God, you lied to me. I'll become a servant of God, and I've brought shame to you. Friends who you were in the same couple group, they're not even talking to my wife. To us, there was some reconciliation being done, but it didn't go as planned. So we were alone. So those things that made me crash. So I started. Now I didn't. My psycho-addiction therapist was telling me to enter the non-alcoholic anonymous.
Sorry,
The group
non-alcoholic?
anonymous or narcotic anonymous.
Okay.
These are special groups that help people who have been in addiction to cope and also to continue with the sobriety journey. I didn't get to one, and I was being reminded by my psycho-addiction, you need one, you need a sponsor. I didn't understand all these things until when I started relapsing. Because I started relapsing not on the painkiller, but I started tablets.
Okay.
I'm depressed. I remember they were giving me some antidepressant, so I used to take them. but I think it's not giving me the same high, so I take many.
Many of the same one.
Yes. Now these are I'm reserving. Like now, an alcoholic says, the brand that made me an alcoholic maybe is Konyagi. I will use please now.
Okay.
But you see, it's drink.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Yeah. So those tablets are opioids. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But the other
It's just that one was an injectable,
that
and
is
now
a
this is a
tablet.
tablet.
Yes.
Wow.
And I started other tablets, tramadol tablets. I said, I'm not injecting myself. I'm using just tramadol tablets because of pain. I remember telling my wife, hey, because of the moods are becoming so depressed, I need this to be so that I can be happy in the house. And she was like, no, it is not making sense. I'm like, no, you don't understand what I'm feeling. Yeah, so those are the relapses that I'm talking about. So, but I use every time we relapse, we used to go to hospital, back to hospital, and they will sort me out. I will get. Now I started joining those groups, understanding people's journey, and looking forward for people who are now 1 year. They're like, wow, how did you do it? And my doctor will tell me, you see, you had completed 8 months. And I wish I knew the process. The process was after getting out of rehab, I get this group so that they can walk, so that my sobriety journey will be longer and longer. Now, the blunder with relapse is you start fresh again. So the 8 months were wiped off.
Yeah, you start afresh.
Yeah, you start afresh and all that.
In your journey, how many times did you say you've relapsed?
Okay, like every time I get depression, I relapse. Relapse.
And what is that thing that inspires you to lift yourself up after a relapse?
My family, my wife especially. And my wife has been so gracious. So gracious. Like it is the addiction, it is weighing her down mentally. But she's still holding on. She's still hoping that this too will pass. This too will pass. Then my son always reminds me, Daddy, petidine is not good. Take water, take hydroxyurea. He knows all my medicine, and he's 5 years old. So he's the one who keeps me going and makes me take that fight again. Because I'm like, oh my God, again. I'm like losing hope. I'm telling God, this thing will not work. Just take me now. I started becoming suicidal again. Yeah. Started wishing to die. I've been riding bike. Nowadays, I don't ride bike on the road because I've been riding bike and throwing myself on the road so that a car can just come and crash me. But by miracle, things don't happen the same way. Sometimes I overdose so that I can die. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, I'm still here. Yeah, so, yes.
Wow. It's been quite a journey.
Yes.
And I'm surprised that your son could be able to call it by name.
Yes.
Does it mean that when you were in the heat of the addiction, it didn't matter where you were?
It didn't.
You could sometimes even maybe do it in front of the child. And
even when I'm driving, I remember.
Oh, wow.
I remember this scenario. I don't know what was happening. I was taking there's one of my cousins who came from abroad. I was driving them with the children and their cousin. And I just stopped in the middle of the road. I took off my trouser kidogo. I injected. And like my sister was like, Etemesi, what are you doing? I was like, I didn't care. And sometimes I look back at things that you do, even in buses, in matatus. You just ask the driver, do you mind I use this injection? I'm not in pain. I mean, oh, it's okay. Shh, don't care.
Wow.
You don't care. You don't. It's like it's an obsession that comes and you don't even reason. And I used to do it in front of my family, in front of my son. And my son hated that painkiller because everyone sees, but I don't see it. Yes.
And when it comes to your wife, what was the effect of you being in the clutches of addiction? What was the effect of that on your wife?
Yeah, my psychological effects. My wife was really affected. And Now, the worst thing is everyone was concerned about me and not her.
Exactly.
She gave until she became empty.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And she left. She left me at some point.
Oh, okay.
She left me at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because that depression was so bad. She left me at some point. And when she left and with the son, I was not here. She left. And I was broken. I went deep into addiction again. And I was vomiting and all that. So, but she came back. But now the good thing is people are now concerned about her. The new church that you have gone to has been a blessing. The pastors are working tirelessly to help us come out from that addiction. The life groups, the home fellowships, there's a pastor there who is helping us. There are the marriage couple groups. There are these certain couples who are with us. They are giving my wife attention. They are giving me attention. And now even my wife has started counseling. We have started counseling together in church, but there's a personal class that she has started. And a friend is paying for that.
Oh, that's good. That's beautiful.
Imagine, so we are grateful, Yani. And we are grateful now we are talking. One of the things that I have done, measures that I've taken to protect myself from addiction is I've deleted all the contacts. So I don't call people. I've deleted all my Gmail contacts. I don't use smartphone anymore. Yes, I'm there. I am there working. Any loophole where you can get medicine without prescription, I go with my wife. My wife explains to them that he's not supposed to get this. If he comes here in pain, just call me first. I understand. So I'm involving my wife in those decisions. Yes.
To kind of like hold you accountable.
Exactly.
I want to take you back a bit. You mentioned that there was this friend of yours and you were close and he lost his life. What did that do to you?
I don't know. It's like I've been learning about the mind of someone who's addicted to something, either gambling, crime, and you see your friend is dead, and you're not stopping. It's like it's like YOLO. Then you continue. It's like there's a veil that is closed. You don't see the impact of it. You just see, it was his day or her day. You just continue, and that's the blunder. Yes. I think I was hearing someone saying it's a foolishness stage of human life. We don't understand. Even you're being woken up by tragedy, but you're not waking up. Yeah.
Wow. So where are we today?
I'm in sobriety. Not many days, but I'm in sobriety. And I'm working, like putting structures around me. Because now, one of the things that I didn't do when I came out of rehab is put structures. People were putting structures for me, like changing my number. But you see, in my mind, I have some numbers.
Yes.
So when people do this for you, they're not doing anything. Yeah? Until I myself decide that enough is enough. For how long will you be in this mountain?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this is going to be my last question.
Yes.
What kind of support would you say was the most important for you during this addiction struggle? And what advice do you have for other sickle cell warriors out there?
My support basically is family, family support. It's sad that when you wake up and you find that people have neglected warriors who are addicted. I used to hear the medical specialists in the hospital calling us addicts, pethidine addicts. I didn't understand because I thought, they don't understand us because we use this drug once in a while. But now, kumbe, there is a stage you reach, you come for it like every other day. If our hospital it's not cautious about or is taking notes, you'll be coming every day for that injection. You'll come every day. And now I understand why they were calling us addicts. And unfortunately, even it streams down to families where they call people addict. And when they call addict, they tend not to help you. Even if you call them, they will not. You're an addict. But this is an advice that I'm telling people. Take care of those people. It's a slow fade that you don't know, actually, you're getting yourself into all this. You don't know. What happens is, something that it was introduced to you when you're young, and you have been knowing this. It's like someone who has been raised in an alcoholic family, and you have been given sip when you're a child, and you don't know if alcohol is bad. Everyone is using it. Yeah. So the same way as painkillers in people with pre-existing condition, there's a cancer patient, there's people living with sickle cell and leukemia. Many patients who are into this cycle of addiction, but they don't know. They're saying, I am sick. And it's true. Addiction is a sickness. Yeah. And so that's support. Don't lose hope on them. Because this thing will kill them. This thing will kill them. It's a time bomb. Anytime it will explode. Yes.
Wow. Etemesi,
Yes.
thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thanks
Thanks for sharing. I hope using your story and using your experience, other warriors can be encouraged.
Yes.
And anybody who's going through this also can at least find a glimmer of hope.
Yes.
Yeah. That has been our guest, Etemesi. It's quite a heart-wrenching story because you find yourself in the clutches of addiction without any known fault of yours. The selfishness, the pain, the psychological effect addiction has on the people around is devastating. But empathy, prayer, and support is what can help us support those in our families that are struggling. I've been your host, JF. I hope that you found this episode valuable. Don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe. We love it over here to receive your feedback. Have a great week ahead and see you in the next one.